Hello everyone, Purge here, and welcome back to Imperial Galactic Survival. Today we're doing something a little bit different because patch 4.1 came out today, and I had to sift through all the multiplayer stuff that means absolutely nothing to me in order to figure out what single-player changes that they implemented in this patch. So, I'm just going to go ahead and dive right on into the changes. First change that they did was they added resource count for deposits. And you'll see right there it says 100% ores left of 160, and I just ruined that for you, but we'll get into that later. It also shows 862 of 100%, 100% of 862 rather, 1832 on that magnesium, 67 on that promethium. Yeah, so it shows on the map, it shows in the world, and so that is exciting. That's the first change that they did. All right, the second change that they did is they added resource regeneration. If a certain resource is depleted on a planet, then resource meteorites of that resource type will fall on the planet. So if I mined out all the magnesium on Akua, then magnesium meteorite would fall on the planet. Now, as a temporary thing, they've made it so that when they actually land on the come to the planet, they will actually hover above the ground, not unlike the hover vessel. And then as you approach it, it will drop to the ground. I'm not sure what the issue with that is. My guess is it has to do with destroying structures and terrain and causing problems, and they wanted to prevent that. But I don't know because I'm not a dev. So for now, if you do find a meteorite, it'll be hovering above the ground. Don't freak out. When you approach it, it should drop to the ground. So that's a thing there. All right, the next change that they did, and this is an actual change, not a feature. The first two features. They improved ship controlling. Rolling with Q&E is now more accurate, is the actual description on the patch notes. Now, what this tells me is nothing. However, actually going in here and testing it out, it's fantastic. They removed the stupid delay. Making small adjustments for rolling is much easier now, so you can actually properly bank for turns and evasive maneuvers in space. It's very, very responsive now. And it's a really, really welcome change in my opinion. Alright, the next thing that they added in was a simple cleanup algorithm that bases, hover vessels, small vessels, and capital vessels will be removed if one of the following conditions is fulfilled. First condition, a player did not visit a structure for 24 game hours and structure has no core. So that means that if you remove the core from something, it will go away. A player did not visit a structure for 24 game hours, and the structure is smaller than 25 blocks. So basically, if you just place a base starter block on the ground and just leave it there and don't visit it, it'll go away. Now, it's 24 game hours. That's in-game hours. That is a day-night cycle. All right? That's the way that works. Now, this seems like it only has multiplayer implications. However, it depends on how they went about it, doing it, because if they did do it so that this does happen in single player as well, the thing about this is that if you go to a POI and you clear it out and remove the core and then don't visit it again, it'll disappear off your map. All right, because they'll disappear off the map and from in-game, I believe, so that to remove the clutter. Now, the purpose of this is it guarantees that there are not too many unused structures in a playfield, which reduces performance, which is why I said this has more. It seems to have more of an implication for servers. However, it could possibly, as I said, depending on how they coded it, have some interesting implications for single player as well. Alright, so next I added 30 unlock points to players at max level to unlock the new blocks. So over here at the Survival Constructor, they added a food category to it. So in here, I am in creative, mind you, but here's all the things you can build with the Survival Constructor and all this stuff, including, yes, the assault rifle, which if you didn't know, yes, that's a thing. And they added food, so you can now make coffee and you can now make salami with this thing, which means you do not have to rush to get a food processor in the first 15 minutes so that you don't die of starvation. So that's cool. All right, now for the thing that I spoiled earlier. In the map window now, you have, this is your, your planetary map, and this is your planetary overview. Now, this mode thing, if you are just playing by yourself, no server, no direct connect, this means absolutely nothing to you. However, I will go over it just real quick here. Akua and Omicron orbit are PvE by default, and everything else is PvP. And what that means is on Akua and in orbit, your shit will not get griefed. It cannot be destroyed by players, etc., etc., etc. It won't be griefed. All right, that's what that means. And PvP means you build there, your shit could get destroyed by other players. So that means that friendly fire and all that other stuff will be automatically turned on in those playfields on other planets and such. So keep that in mind if you're doing stuff on a server or with Direct Connect. I'm not entirely sure if it matters in Direct Connect, but I would imagine it does. So do keep in mind if you're like me and you use Direct Connect still to, be careful. Next up, they added Sentry Guns that can be made in Survival. You'll see here they take 10 metal components, 4 electronics, 2 motors, and 5 cables. So those of you, even in single player, who like to build crazy fancy bases, can now put Sentry Guns in your base if you so desire. They also gave us new 3D models for the Constructor and Advanced Constructor. This is the regular Constructor, the large Constructor. And you'll see that it looks like there's room for improvement here. And BAM! There's the improvement. Advanced Constructor. It has 2 of these suckers, which is, that's why it crafts faster, I guess, because it's got more space to craft in, I guess. I don't know how it all works, but that's the implication that I'm seeing here as well. Unfortunately, on my graphic setting, the texture has been severely downgraded. It looks super bad, super low res, so that's very unfortunate. But those are the new models, so have fun. Alright, next up, they tweaked the model of thrusters to prepare for color masks. I have no idea what they mean by color masks, but what that tells me, or what I'm looking at rather, is that this is now different. This didn't used to be totally black like that. That tells me that we can change the color of turrets soon. Or I mean of, not turrets, of thrusters soon. So yeah, they look black there. The directional thrusters actually. Yeah, that's a directional thruster. They look different too. So they all look a little different now. Same thing in the actual menu. If we go in here, you'll see they actually have a slightly changed, at least the directional thrusters do, slightly changed icon as well. Next up, they also tweaked the texture for the core block, the fuel tank, and the passenger seat so it has less scratches. In effect, again, it makes it look like it's lower resolution, so there's not as much scratching on the core block. Same with the fuel tank, it's very smooth and kind of makes it look lower res to me. It might actually be lower res, I don't know. I'm on the lowest graphic settings, so those of you who are on higher graphic settings might get more appreciation out of this than I do. Next up, they added a new spotlight for the small vessel and hover vessel. Now, the wording on that tells me that they added a second spotlight, but they didn't. They literally just updated the model of the current spotlight, so it looks like this is very fancy, and it kind of matches up more with the guns now. Next up, they added several new explosions, and what that tells me is that they added a new explosion effect for every type of explosion, or for multiple types of explosions. For example, the rockets. They now have this nice black plume of smoke with these cool particles that come out of it as well. It's fancy. It looks better than it used to, for sure. So that's pretty cool. There's probably many more, but this ship here in Creative only has rockets on it, so I can't exactly show you like plasma explosions or anything like that. So enjoy finding all of those, and I will attempt to land this monstrosity. Alright, so they also improved visuals of the tech tree window, which you briefly saw earlier. But they gave it larger icons, and they made it look all much cleaner, much fancier, etc., etc. And you can see the new blocks of the Sentry Gun, and the Advanced Constructor also needed to be repurchased for some odd reason. But they did all that. They also added a back to inventory window, which is this one right here. That little arrow brings you back to the inventory, so I can go tech tree, inventory, tech tree, inventory. So yeah, they did that, minor thing, but it's cool. Alright, so the next thing they did is they made it so that all doors and POIs are closed by default. I don't think there's any POIs in Creative, so I can't exactly show you that right now. But yeah, so they're all closed by default, so don't expect to find open doors anymore. Now, the next thing on this list is a little confusing. They said they set the culling of windows to a much larger or much higher distance. The only thing I can think of that meaning is that windows in servers were disappearing, like when you got to a certain point, like kind of like a occlusion sort of thing. They would just disappear. And so you could maybe even see inside the base. I don't know. But they now made that go from a longer distance. I haven't noticed that in single player. I also haven't exactly been looking for it. But if that is a thing in single player, that's now not going to be a thing anymore. Next, and this is probably the most exciting thing for me, they removed the color overlay from sniper scopes. Look at the pulse rifle. It used to have that stupid blue overlay, and it's gone. Tier 2 sniper rifle had that shitty green, and it's gone. So, yes, finally, you can use them at night now. Next up, the player list is now scrollable. It's also a toggle now. You don't hold it down to keep it open. You hit it once, you bring it up, you can scroll through it. I'm not sure if it's with the mouse wheel or with the scroll bar, but if you're using, I mean, in single player, this is a very minor thing, but the reason I kept this in here is because it is now a toggle. So if you accidentally hit it, you'll have to hit it again to get rid of it. That's a very minor thing, though. All right, so next up, they added 2 new plants to Akua, and they removed those ZR1 plasma stocks from Akua and put them only on Omicron. However, they brought in a replaced with Alien Tentacle plant. Now, what that tells me is that Alien Tentacle plant, which is a new plant, will give you the Alien ZR1 plasma. The Alien Plasma ZR1s in place of these, and these ones will only be found on Omicron. You can still get your ZR1 plasma on Omicron by accessing those new tentacle plants. That's the way I understand it. I have yet to test that, so I'm not entirely certain. Next up, they made it so that the drill and filler flatten tool can also remove grasses and shrubbery. So if we look at this bamboo thing here, bam! Oh, wait, I'm too far away. Wait, there it goes, bam, it's gone. And this little tuft of grass here, bam, gone, bam, gone. Without deforming the terrain, bam, it's gone. So that's exciting for me because I find a lot of times, especially, and I ended up clearing this out in a previous attempt at recording this, but like tufts of grass will prevent you from accessing like the T6 plasmas. In fact, this one here is doing it right here. So you'll see here, if I stop freaking flying for a moment, here I can access it, here I can't because there's grass in my way, so I can't really access it. But if I get rid of this grass, suddenly I can access the plasma. And that's exciting to me because I have that happen constantly with these T6 plasmas. Next up is something I can't really show you, but they increase the overall range of capital vessel weapons so that you can shoot things from much farther away now. Furthermore, removing alien turrets now also gives resources. I'm not sure if they mean the Sentry Guns, just the Sentry Guns, or if they also mean like the ion cannons and such like that on POIs as well. But now you have a reason to not destroy all the guns with your pistols or your sniper rifles or whatever, because you can use the remove repair tool and actually get stuff from them, which is a very welcome change in my opinion. They also removed, or rather reduced, the number of turrets and sentry guns on some POIs for performance improvements. That tells me that that stupid station near Aestus no longer has 200 and some ridiculous amount of guns that takes like hours to clear. And in a very interesting change, I'm not sure what the purpose of it is, they added Sathium ore deposits to Ningguis. So you no longer have to go to the asteroid field to find Sathium. You can just go to the ice planet instead. All right, and now for the bug fixes. Most of these, well, I'm just going to kind of blow through most of these real quick here. They fixed a problem with floating POIs. They fixed a problem that some turrets did not shoot accurately. I'm not sure if they mean alien turrets or player turrets. They fixed a problem that the game crashed in some cases when troop transport was destroyed. I saw a lot of complaints about that on the forum, so there you go. They fixed a problem that the warning message troop transport is approaching was played several times. Fixed a problem that entering cockpit on crashed capital vessel caused problems. Now that one, the reasoning behind that issue to begin with was because the crashed capital vessels that are on the planets, like the crashed MS Titan, the crashed Hyperion, they're actually considered bases, so you can't actually, fix them up and fly them or anything like that. They're considered bases. And since you can't actually have a cockpit on a base, entering the cockpit was causing problems, and they apparently finally fixed that. They fixed collider on turret radar. Now, this is an interesting wording on that, but this tells me they fixed the collision on this radar dish, because you did not used to be able to stand on this or anywhere near this. This whole roof area here was inaccessible before, just about, because the collision box on it came out to about here, I want to say. They also fixed the wrong quality setting text and a possible fix for full screen resolution switch bug. Both of those have caused issues for me. Specifically, the quality showing up as first instead of fast was an undue source of ridiculous amounts of agitation to me. That irritated me way more than it should have because it was such a stupid thing. But yeah, so they fixed that, and they have fixed possibly the full screen resolution switch bug, which basically if you switched your resolution, bad shit happened. So yeah, and that's going to do it for this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, etc. And if you would like to see more of these videos, for like specifically like patch notes, like patch note breakdowns, etc., etc., please do let me know in the comments below, and I will see what I can do about that. Otherwise, you can just completely ignore me. But then again, if you're going to do that to begin with, you wouldn't have watched this entire video to get to this point to begin with. So thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. This is Purge, signing off.